For more than 23 years, the country of Zimbabwe has been under siege from the Western Hemisphere. It has been put on sanction list, sanctioned by America, the European Union, Britain, and other countries that fall in the category of the Western Hemisphere. Zimbabwe has been resilient and kept its people who have suffered under the sanctions that were put there under the pretext that they will be targeted sanctions. Yet sanctions, whichever form they are, hurt the masses. Whether targeted or overall, they still have impact on the lives of the masses. The number of children that have died, the number of women, men that have died as a result of sanctions in Zimbabwe because of failing to buy local medicines, local treating diseases that are treatable through government agencies, is huge. And therefore, the West has a responsibility for the abuse of human rights against the people of Zimbabwe, for not allowing the people of Zimbabwe to purchase their own medicine, to purchase their own textbooks, to purchase their own equipment, science equipment, experimental equipment for laboratories. The burden goes back to the Western countries that heaped sanctions on the people of Zimbabwe. I have been one of the few people from 1998 to date who has stood firm, and I will still stand firm as long as I'm alive, to tell anybody who comes to besmirch, prostitute, and engage in bad terms the name of the people of Zimbabwe and the government of Zimbabwe that has worked so hard to make sure that people in that country survive. Sometime in March, beginning of this month, an organization by name Jazeera'S, funded by Doha or government of Qatar, a country whose human rights record stinks, a country that has never been sanctioned by the British or Americans for the abuse of human rights, a country that does not hold even a single election, even an election for a toilet chief. A country cannot hold such an election called Qatar. But because of the huge amounts of money that this country has, the Western countries have never heaped any sanctions, condemned any human rights abuses that the people of Qatar have undergone under the iron fists of the rulers of this small, tiny country in the Gulf states of the Gulf. One wonders then, why are there double standards? Ladies and gentlemen, it bothers me quite a lot as a person, a Pan-African, a defender of the African continent, a defender of the people worldwide, a speaker of the silent millions that cannot say what I'm going to say today. The Americans use Qatar as a staging point post. Does it sound to you that every terrorist activities, every terrorist in the world knows the capital city, Doha? All meetings are held in Doha. Taliban, Chad rebels, Libyan rebels, Congolese, name them. Every terrorist that is known on planet Earth uses Qatar as a staging point for meetings, coordination, and operations before and after the peace talks, or whatever you term peace talks, are done. Given such a country and the background, the destabilization of Africa, there are about 10 to 12 countries that Qatar has taken part in destabilization, starting from Libya, Chad, Central African Republic, Mozambique, the DRC Congo, Somalia, where Qatar destabilized, made it very difficult for the Kenyan troops to bring in peace and the Ugandan troops to bring in peace. Somebody would say, why am I concerned? I'm concerned because I'm a Ugandan by birth, and my troops have been in Mogadishu the longest. They have been dying. More of them have died than any other country in the world as far as the Somali or Somalia conflict is concerned. Qatar, together with its sister or its brother, where they border each other, and especially for this time, Qatar came to Somalia, disorganized the government of Somalia, tried to buy, to corruptly buy, disorganize the systems, thereby encouraging terrorism that took place, that still takes place, that kills us in East Africa today. Earlier this month, as I said, Al Jazeera itself has got a record of journalists, fake journalists, doing fake documentaries that have landed them into trouble. One of the journalists that we have campaigned all over the world, we didn't even know, he attacked the Egyptians, they locked him up. We struggled for his release. In Khartoum, Sudan, another Qatar was given few hours to pack up and leave. In South Sudan, the same problem. In Kenya, they took sides in 2007, where they were advocating for more when people were dying. Several other places, they have taken sides. And some of those documentaries are sensational. It is therefore at this point that we would like to call them out for them to try to create principled journalism. Investigative journalism must be principled, based on facts, based on documents, based on quality, based on solutions. I am aware that the world has seen documentaries that were floated around, episodes in episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4. We can have 1 million episodes. But this is all a fishing expedition. It's a fishing expedition supported, equipped, supplied by America as a state. Qatar is being used as a satellite state to disorganize Africa. What America cannot disorganize in Africa, Qatar will disorganize. What the French cannot disorganize in Africa, Qatar will come in to disorganize. I will give you the example of Democratic Republic of Congo, where Qatar came in wanting to take over the peace process. When we, East Africans, have managed to bring rebel groups together, we are forging forward. Qatar came in, it wants to take part in the peace process by calling the two presidents, Kagame and President Tshisekedi, to a meeting to have shortcuts that cannot bring peace. I can give several examples. In Mozambique, many of you must have seen what was taking place in Mozambique, Cape Delgado. Total Oil came in, disorganized this area, found the oil. They have now sold this oil to Qatar. Total Oil Energies.